Hello everyone, welcome to Chess Kicks and my name is here in this tutorial I'm going to talk about lazy loading of an Angular module. And before that, we are also going to talk about what modules are in Angular application. So modules are a very basic building block in Angular. So earlier until Angular 16, every component that we used to design used to fall in one of the module. After the advent of standalone components, the components started becoming the building block, the major building block of a framework. However, still, if you wish to load a whole bunch of functionality the way in which we are going to be doing now because of the dashboard and the login component need, we are also going to be creating a module. So understand a module is as an independent application in Angular itself. Like for an example, if you have a main module and a main application, and under that you have a multiple feature application, so each feature application belong to a feature module. Each feature belongs to a feature module, and that feature module can also independently work as an Angular 17 application. But more to it, and then we'll do the deep dive of modules after we finish building this application altogether, and then towards the end we will see that how to mix and match with module and components and so on and so forth. But for the scope of this tutorial, let's quickly go to the Google Chrome and see what Angular has to say about ng modules. So as I said earlier, ng modules are the basic building block which configures the injector, the compiler, and help organize related things together. For example, in our case, if we go to the application that we are trying to build, is this. So let's just refresh this page once. So here, if you notice, we are going to be landing on the login page. So this is the login page. This is, let's just clean everything. And when you click on login, that's when other functionality would load in. Since this entire functionality going to have home route, student route, and subjects route, it's better to create it as a module. And this is what we are going to be calling it as feature module. So let's go back to our application. Currently, as we see that since we have put the auth guard, in which case we are not able to move to any of these routes independently because all of these are auth guarded. And as we have also seen what ng modules and feature module and core modules are, let's quickly go back to VS Code and start seeing how to build a module by ourselves. So without further ado, let's delve into the code. So VS Code next. So here in the VS Code, I'm going to be creating a module with a name, let's say dashboard. So ngg module, and I'm going to be calling it as dashboard. So here is the dashboard module. Let's just quickly open the app HTML, app component HTML. Here in this file, you notice that we have a sidebar and a router outlet and the left panel given in right here. However, we are going to be building it such that oh, the main route will only hold the login page, and whenever there is a need and a user is authenticated, that's when we are going to be loading the dashboard. So in that case, first of all, the first change we will have to make is to make this as a router outlet here and comment this entire code. And let's just copy this code as well. And we will have to make use of dashboard module in this case. Let's just create a component in here. So let's just clear this and see where we stand. Create a component with the name dashboard. All right. So here it has created all these components. So let's just let it be here. Let's open the dashboard component here and let's just copy this code. Comment. Now, the idea here is that this dashboard component is going to host the sidebar as well as the students record and the landing page. Let's just bring all of this inside the dashboard module. Let's say yes. We don't need reference of it directly in the main app component because app component is now going to house. Let's just now the app component is only going to house the dashboard module, and the dashboard is where we will have all the other components listed. This here, dashboard. And let's just make as dashboard component, and then we also need this card over here. And let's just remove these two. We don't need that anymore. Arrange it better. Save it. Now we are going to be going right the app component over here. And I don't think so. We need these two references here. Let's just remove this. Let's save this. Now we're going to be going inside a dashboard component, and then we have a dashboard, and then here in the dashboard module, as you may have noticed already, that it is showing all the red color swigglies, and also it says that outer outlet is not a web is not part is not recognized. In order to do so, let's just import all the other important modules required to run this. So import LAR, import this here. Is this where it go? And let's just import the all the other component that we have created so far. So what are those two components? We have a landing page. So have the sidebar. Let's just put them here, the declaration. Also, we need to make a small change here because landing and sidebar earlier we had made them as standalone true. Let's just make them as false, and then also remove this because we have already imported these modules. This really we'll have to do it from this sidebar. All the references here. And let's go to the dashboard module once again. We're making the highlight component, which is coming from Bootstrap. NGP highlight. Let's just here. Now we're going to be putting a router information here for the dashboard module. In order to create a router configuration, we will have to create in the dashboard module. In order to create a router module, we will have to create routes array. How do we create one? Is by declaring const routes. Here we are having a path, and within the path, we're going to be having a component. This component is going to be the dashboard component that we have created. And here we're going to be having children. So here we're going to be again type of route internally. Let's say path, and we are going to be making this as default, and let's just redirect this to put a comma here. So we need to make the indentation right. Just make it using tabs, spaces, put a tab here, put a tab red. Let's just define this route. Going to be another routes object in which we'll have a path of property and a component property. The path is going to be lending, and it's going to be lending component. We have already included a lending component top. So far so good. And this routes needs to go here in the inputs array. We'll make it as for child. Just put it. Yeah. So if you need to create a child route or a feature module route, this is how you create it. So you will have to put a router module and for child. If this were to be done for a parent route, then in that case we would register it with for route. However, in a parent route, we have registered it using a component. It only a component that renders, and that's what which completes the other loading and the routing activities there. Let's just like this. I think let's just restart this. The first component we need to open is the dashboard component.html and its TS file as well. So obviously, it's talk about sidebar expanded because we have just copied the HTML code from the app component, not the TS code. So let's open the dashboard component.ts along with app component.ts. Just open them side by side. Just copy this as is. Don't need any of it in the app component anymore. Let's just put this here. Also, let's make it 4 spaces. So, and also we need to open students record. We haven't really made students record as a regular component. It's still a standalone component. So let's remove everything from there. And EG grid module is something that we need to import here. So let's just EG grid module. Let's just put here in the import a comma here. Yep. Let's just go back to HTML here. Let's see what else it has. Students made bar. Also, we put the students record over here. Record component. Put it up at the top. We just open the up dashboard component and then see here. So obviously we had just copied the HTML code and not the code which was required to be copied in TS. So we had initially copied it from the app component.ts. We had copied it from the app component TS. Let's just open the app component.ts and put this because we don't need this anymore in the app component. I just so this should fix some of the errors. Let's quickly see we still have dashboard as a standalone component, so we don't need that. For this, we need to import the dashboard component here. Let's just import this. We need to make a students records component as a regular component, not a standalone component. Just do that as well. Now, the third thing we're going to change is the app route. So here, if you notice, here in the app route, we are essentially trying to load the component eagerly, just by changing the URL. However, we want it to be loaded as lazily. The property for that is load children. And when you do a load children, what it essentially does is that it expects you to write a function. So we are going to be writing an arrow function here. And then I think don't think so we need this. And then let's just do this import. And then we're going to be making the dashboard component appear here. So let's just write down dashboard and dashboard module. And after that, it's a thenable function, meaning it returns a promise. And we receive that promise. Let's just make it m dot dashboard module. Let's just quickly see if we have make all our component inside dashboard is a regular component and not the standalone component. Dashboard is fine. Ending is fine as well. Let's see if the sidebar is correct. Yep, sidebar is correct as well. See, student record. Yep, student record is also not a standalone component. So let's just close everything. Let's just wait for a moment for this to compile. And let's have a quick look at the app component. Yep, that's fine. App config also looks okay. In app routes, yep, we have made the dashboard component to be loaded lazily. And let's just go to the dashboard outing, close everything, and let's just go here. So essentially what should happen is the moment user types the dashboard over there, the dashboard route would be taken to dashboard lending. And let's just quickly also notice that in the auth service, we have made a small change in making as is logged in as true for now. We're going to be implementing services and then we will implement it properly along with forms. But for now, let's just make it true for always. Let's go to browser and see if that change has worked properly or not. So here's the browser for us. Let's just say if we can reach the login component. Login works, no error over here. Let's just type dashboard alone. When you type dashboard, yep, it moves us to dashboard forward slash landing. Now we can see dashboard landing being called. So far so good. Let's just do all the other small changes such that this highlight must work and all the other component routing. So now we can see the at least the base routing is working correctly for us, right? So we are able to open login and dashboard all together. Now let's just go back to VS Code and do the other small bits of changes. Right? We just close everything over here. No console error here as well. I think all our changes are working fine. Let's now open those auth. And then there's a third route we need to add is that's the students. So the other route we need to put is the students. The students is still not here. Let's just put the students and let's just make this as students record component. Let's go to the browser and have a look how it works so far. So here's the login component. So if everything is right, if I write dashboard here, it will take me to dashboard landing. Let's see if that happens. Yep, I can see that it takes me to dashboard landing. And then if I just write login, takes me to the login page. So I think our routing is working so far. So if we see it here, you notice that this file is not being taken in. So let's just quickly go to the VS Code and fix this. Let's just close everything. The styles are so far empty. Let's just put them here. Gonna be students record. And we don't need that here because none of the style is available here. So now we need to also make a few changes in the link manner in which we call the other tab. So let's go to the sidebar HTML. Here we're clicking on lending. It has to be dashboard forward slash lending. And in this case, it has to be dashboard forward slash students. Now let's see in the Chrome browser if this works. You can see that the home is highlighted right now. If we click on students, yep, we can see the AG grid student is also working. So we have set up all the application properly. There's just one more thing we need to do is to set up the subjects route. And we also need to create a login component now. We will create the login component when we start to work around forms. Um, but I think for routing, that's pretty much it. This tutorial, we have covered routing, the component loading, the lazy loading of a single module. We have also seen what modules are. We have also seen the auth guard, the router guards, type of router guards, and how to implement them. We have also created a few guard ourselves, where we have also created a basic service. We have also injected a few service in the template. I think that's pretty much it about router. So this in the next tutorial, we're going to be talking about forms